So today we're going to be going over the deadlift. The deadlift is a hip and thigh exercise, mainly focusing on hamstrings, gluteus maximus, and quadriceps. So when getting into starting position, you're going to want to have your feet flat on the ground with them being shoulder width apart. Next, you're going to place your hands on the bar slightly wider than shoulder width, either having hands in the alternate grip position or double overhand position. Right now I'm currently in alternate hand grip position. Next, you're going to bring the bar as close to your body as possible with your hips down and having a neutral back. After that, you're going to roll your shoulders back, bring the chest up, head in line with spine or slightly hyperextended, eyes focused straight ahead, and keeping your heels in contact with the floor at all times. After starting position, you're going to want to go into the lifting phase. You're going to lift the load up by extending the hips and knees, driving the hips forward. You're going to maintain a neutral spine throughout the whole lift. Don't let the hips drive up first. Keep the bar as close to your body as possible. Once in an upright position, you're going to allow your hips and knees to bend, slowly lowering the load and maintaining a neutral spine. Common mistakes typically seen is rounding in the back, hips rising first, and bar away from body. Some cues to give is chest up, strong core, shoulders back, and keep bar close to your body. The next lift we're going into is the back squat. The back squat is a hip dominant exercise, mainly focusing on the quads, hamstrings, glutes, and thigh adductors. For starting position, you want the rack slightly lowered to where the athlete needs to slightly squat down, as seen here. You want the bar sitting on trap muscles at top of the shoulders. What this does is provides a more upright torso. You want the hand position as close as possible to create as much tension within the back without straining any joints in the upper arms. Next, you're going to want to brace the core and take 2 to 3 steps out. For descend, you're going to want to push out with the hips and knees, gripping the floor with your feet and keeping a neutral back with your chest up at all times. Once parallel, you're going to want to drive through the ground while driving the hips forward on the way up, maintaining lateral pressure throughout the whole lift. You're going to keep your eyes ahead and head forward at all times. For spotting, you're going to want to stand behind with forearms under squatter's arms and go down with spotter, assisting when needed. Common mistakes typically seen is knees caving in, leading with the hips or hips shooting up and heels coming off the ground. Some cues to combat this is to push out, have upright torso on the way up, or drive the hips forward, and also to sit back with the hips. The next lift that we're going to go over is the front squat. The front squat's primary movers are the quadriceps, with the glutes and the hamstrings as the secondary movers. For starting position, you're going to want to have a clean grip with hands slightly wider than shoulder width, bar resting on anterior deltoids. After this, you're going to have your feet shoulder width apart with toes slightly pointed out. And just like back squat, you're going to want the rack to be slightly lower to where athlete needs to slightly squat down to get underneath. Next, you're going to want to brace your core and take 2 to 3 steps out. For the eccentric phase, you're going to push your hips out, having a neutral back and keeping your chest and elbows up. Once reached parallel, you're going to have your heels planted with a neutral back. You're going to drive your knees out and your hips forward. Spotting will be just like back squat, standing behind the athlete with the forearms underneath the squatter's arms and going down with the spotter, assisting when needed. Common mistakes typically seen is knees caving in, elbows dropping, and heels coming off the ground. Some cues to help with this is to push out, create a shelf with your elbows, and to sit back with your hips. Next lift we're going over is a bench press. The primary movers for the bench press are the pectoralis major, deltoids, and triceps. For starting position, you're going to have 5 points of contact with both feet on the ground. your glutes, shoulders, and head in contact with the bench. You're going to also have a pronated hand grip with your hands slightly shoulder width apart, and you're going to slide back, creating a slight arch within your back. Once the load is unracked, you're going to move the bar slightly forward. Afterwards, for the eccentric phase, you're going to have your elbows tucked in, keeping them at a 45-degree angle. You're going to lower the bar with control and having the bar go in a straight line all the way down. Next, you're going to touch the bar to your chest, having it at the nipple line or slightly above. You're going to keep your elbows at a 45-degree angle. For the concentric phase, you're going to drive the bar back up using 5 points of contact. For spotting, you're going to want someone to stand directly behind the athlete, assisting when needed with alternative hand grip. You're going to also want effective communication skills, like describing what a liftoff would look like. Common cues typically seen is elbows flaring, not engaging back or pinching shoulders, and feet or butt coming off the ground. Some cues to help with this would be keeping elbows tucked, slide back and retract scapula, drive with feet, and keep firm foundation.